Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Checking in on the market rundown. SPY today with the daily inside bar showing the tightening range, still favoring the bulls. Second highest close for SPY in the history of forever. So we're looking at two short-term support levels, 385 and 299.11, and the resistance levels, the all-time high 302.23, and the high of today falling just shy of that. So not expecting a whole lot of action until Wednesday in the FOMC. Even if we get a bull break or a bear break of this inside bar tomorrow, which is likely, we're not going to expect a ton of follow through. This was the kind of setup this morning where we started all bear and just all out dumped to RSI levels that were extreme. And then once we changed this 5-minute trend, pretty much from that point on, after an hour and 10 minutes of trading, we could say that a daily inside bar is likely going to form. The reason being, this whole big dump was within the range of the previous day of Friday's trading range. And then once we changed that 5-minute trend, we knew that an equilibrium would be the most likely scenario from there. And then just a tightening, choppy 5-minute range. And when we see that scenario, it tells me for the market as a whole to pump my brakes and not be aggressively trading. But there was certainly plenty of individual names that had some nice volatility to look to trade. And I'm talking about Amazon and Tesla and Netflix and BYND and AMD and Roku. You name it, there was a lot of plays. IWM, just back and forth, the 4-hour time frame tightening up day after day. Pretty perfect equilibrium at this point, and XBI is in a perfect equilibrium as well. We'll look at that in just a moment. But we had the high, the low, lower high was set, and we were looking at if you look at the video from over the weekend, we were anticipating the potential of 4-hour equilibriums in IWM and XBI. And it's always nice when that plays out exactly as anticipated, just because that pretty much is the framework of your trade game plan. Top fishing resistance, bottom fishing support, and now we're looking for these tightening ranges to break probably Wednesday. So IWM, if the bulls show up tomorrow morning, our higher low will be 155.60, and we'll look to stay within this range probably until Wednesday. QQQ, still holding on just fine for the bulls. Anything above 190.69 is a daily higher low. We did break the low of Friday on the Qs here, but again, no real follow through and not very meaningful overall. Still one of the highest closes in all time and keeping the daily uptrend, which is what is most important. XLF with a red day today. Probably going to start seeing some profit taking as we head into the FOMC, and the potential of a rate cut lingers. We have a higher low each day the last 5 days, and if the bears show up tomorrow morning and break 28.44, we'll be pulling back, and the most important support level will be 27.78 for the bulls to try and keep the daily uptrend in their favor. XLV, trying to shift some momentum. If the bulls can break 92.97, it will be meaningful. Again, we're looking for a weekly higher low to form, and it's looking pretty convincing that that may be our weekly higher low. Of course, the FOMC reaction will be important for the market as a whole, but after building a base of support, and most notably the lower highs and lower lows with a lack of bear follow through on the lower lows and a lack of any real bear volume, is showing us that it's pretty healthy and contained consolidation. So we'll see if this is our weekly higher low. The bulls will have to break 94.42 in order to see continuation of this weekly uptrend, and that would be a good sign for the market bulls. So XBI, a lot of back and forth as well, and the 4-hour time frame. And we were talking about how over the weekend video, it was pretty much an inverse setup to IWM. IWM was looking at higher lows and lower highs, and here for XBI, we're looking at lower highs and then a higher low. So coming from a downtrend as opposed to coming from an uptrend, but the result is the same. The bears were looking at a top fishing play with 86.15 support or resistance this morning, and we came within 20 cents of that. And then we pulled back so sharply, and SPY was so oversold on the 5-minute time frame that there was a play based off 84.01 support, and we held it by 6 pennies. So we call that top fishing, entering a bearish resistance or a bearish position based off a nearby resistance, and then bottom fishing, and both played out. So we'll see if we get a break before Wednesday, and if not, certainly looking for that break on Wednesday to take place. Looking at the VIX, So every once in a while, pretty much every once a week, someone will comment and say, why am I talking about VIX in terms of bulls and bears and support and resistance? And it's important to point out that they are correct. It's not your standard supply and demand of shares that is driving the VIX. But it's also important to understand that after making 7,000 videos and having this language that viewers are accustomed to, and I myself am accustomed to, in terms of looking at support and resistance and recognizing trends, it's just easy to refer to that language rather than completely change the language and how I describe charts on one individual chart and then keeping it the same on 10,000 other charts. I just keep everything the same, and I think that makes it more simple for those who are used to following my analysis. So I'm going to keep doing it that way. So looking at 1470, it's a double top of resistance. No, there's not bears sitting up there waiting to knock the price down, but we can clearly say that if 1470 does not break, we're not going to see much of a spike in the VIX here. We are still watching this falling wedge pattern. We're building a base down in $12. Pretty much 12 to 1470 is the range that I'm watching, and we're going to be looking for a break of that. If I didn't know the FOMC was coming, I would expect a break of this tightening range probably the first week of August. Not this week, next week I would look for a clear break, but Wednesday is keeping it anybody's game. Gold daily higher low is established down at 1411, and the bulls have to break 1434 to see a bit of follow through before we look to the high of the move. And again, huge reaction is likely coming to the FOMC for gold, silver, dollar, miners. If you are looking to trade the leveraged ETF for miners in response to the FOMC reaction, you want to see both gold and the market going in the same direction. That's like both gusts of wind going in one direction as opposed to gusts counteracting each other, and the moves are much more significant when they are both going in the same direction. So that's something to keep an eye out for. And pretty much Wednesday is going to determine whether we lose the uptrend on the daily time frame for precious metals or whether we see continuation of this breakout. Silver is holding on much better with the daily bull flag trying to set up. If we get a bear break, we're going to look for a higher low to form, because really anything above 1503 is a daily higher low. Bulls have a ton of space to work with, and gold, bulls don't have as much space as we've been establishing these stair steps on the way up. And essentially, if we do lose the daily uptrend, or if we do pull back significantly on silver, we're looking at the weekly time frame to see if the uptrend can remain. Bull miners form their daily higher low as well, NUGT closing at the high of the day. So higher low is now 32.12, and the question is, can the bulls break resistance of 36.68? And again, I don't expect that they will before the FOMC reaction. We're either going to lose the daily uptrend or see continuation. Oil's still very tight, not much going on at all in the last 5 days. And again, just keeping to the weekly time frame, most important levels for me are 50.59 support and 60.91 resistance. We're closer to resistance than we are to support at this point, but not looking for a break of this weekly range for at least a couple of weeks at the earliest, in my opinion. And natural gas dropping down to our lower lows. The bears have kept complete control. Again, we're watching for a break of a falling wedge here as well. A lot of seasonality in natural gas, and that's when a lot of traders shift their attention bullish as we head into colder months. I'm going to stick to the charts, but just knowing that that seasonality exists is worth paying attention to. This is the falling wedge. If we do not see a clear, notable bear break, if we hold $2 on this pullback and then bounce to a lower high, that will increase the odds to me that this is a falling wedge that will break bullish in the fall. So it all depends on how much follow through we get for the bears under 215.6. And if it's not a lot, then the odds increase for a bull break in the fall, in my opinion. That's where we stand. Going to be patient into tomorrow, and Wednesday we'll have some fireworks. Appreciate you watching. We'll check back in tomorrow. See you then. So to wrap it up here today, some more duck observations. Yesterday, a lot of changes. First change is noticing the last feathers to mature on the baby ducks are on their wings, and they're their stripes. They're white. Mom has a white and purple and white stripe on her wings, and these ducks now have their white stripes. The color's not really coming in just yet. So I noticed that for the first time yesterday, and then I saw behavior that I haven't seen before. The first was they are all diving underwater. They've been dipping their heads under and sticking their butts up to reach for stuff, but these are full-on dives and swimming underwater, and they're also skimming they're learning to fly. Mom's teaching them how to fly for the first time yesterday, and I bet with how well they were doing, they'll probably be flying by the weekend, and they might leave. They might go on their way and find mates and leave the pond. I'm sure someone will be back next spring, but it's in the video here that I attached, you see them doing their skimming on the pond where they're just getting a little bit of air, they're spreading their wings, and you can see Mom encouraging them. Mom goes from one pond to the other, and she gets to the other pond and she starts yelling back at them for them to try and fly to her, and they're not ready for that step just yet, but I bet they'll be doing that this evening or tomorrow, going from one little pond to the next. I'll keep you posted on that. And tomorrow we'll check in on everything I've been doing this weekend, planting a whole bunch of perennial fruit trees.